Hello everyone, welcome to Radically Loved Radio. I wanted to create a place where people can go to get inspired, get motivated, or find some clarity and get tools to create a radically loved life. I will do my best to provide information on a variety of subjects, including yoga, holistic health, life coaching, spirituality, meditation, and overall mindful living. Each episode will bring you some of the world's best spiritual leaders, entrepreneurs, yoga teachers, coaches, along with some of my closest friends, and we will talk about their life experiences and journeys to create something more out of their lives and how they continue to grow to make that happen. Hey guys, Rosie here. I just want to say I am so grateful that you're listening. We are just getting a massive amount of response on this podcast, and I am so grateful that you're a part of this radically loved community, that you're enjoying the content and that you're enjoying all the guests and that you're still here and you're still working on yourself and your journey and your path. And I pray that you've received some tools listening to the guests or listening to any of my ideas or topics on meditation or yoga and how these tools can help you create a life of purpose. To continue to help us give you the best content, you can subscribe to this podcast, and most of the time you can just do it from your phone, from iTunes. Click subscribe and write a review. This really helps us continue this path and this journey, and we love doing it so much. And again, I'm so grateful that you're here. Let us know what you thought. Thanks for listening. Your curiosity is the bloodstream of your own spirituality. This is a quote from Danielle LaPorte in her latest book, White Hot Truth, Clarity for Keeping It Real on Your Spiritual Path from One Seeker to Another. Okay, guys, I have to take a deep breath because I'm literally still reeling from this interview. For those of you that know me, know that Danielle LaPorte is like one of my ultimate favorite heroes in the world. She is the high priestess of entrepreneurship, consciousness, and self-empowerment, and this book is literally gold. I could not put it down. You guys know I'm traveling. I read it from cover to cover and I was so excited to talk to her about it. This book has literally changed my perspective on so many things and has really opened the door to discovering a new way of being in the world. There's so much in there about gratitude, about how to determine to co-create in your life, about entrepreneurship, about forgiveness, about honest self-appraisal. It just goes on. And I couldn't be more honored to have her on Radically Loved Radio. I pray that you get as much out of this as I did. And I've listened to her voice several times at this point, and I'm just taking it all in. I'm so honored and so excited to present Danielle LaPorte. I can't even pinpoint what my favorite part of this book was. Danielle, how long did it take you to write this, by the way?
Well, technically my whole life, but literally, I don't know what's literal or technical.
I don't know.
Like 9 months where I declared I'm sitting down, I'm going to push this baby out. This book is going to come out of my vagina and serve the world. And yeah, so it was really 9 months. But I've had chunks of this. I've been putting parts of it in buckets for years. Long time.
Well, yeah, I mean, and I've read Desire Mapping, and I know that there's obviously threads and it's still your voice, but it's just the information, the way it's put together is so elegant and beautifully written. And I think it's literally exactly what this world needs at the moment. And for the people that are tuning in, I'll let you just say a little bit about yourself for the people that are living under rocks and don't know who you are, and just what your new book is about that I'm obviously really excited about.
Okay. All right. I'll take it away. Hi, Danielle LaPorte. I've written a book called White Hot Truth. The subtitle really says it all. Clarity for Keeping It Real on your spiritual path, from one seeker, that would be me, to another, that would be you.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, mostly I'm here like on the planet because I'm interested in raising consciousness and doing that through like really, truthful self-expression. And I will have to borrow a quote from the Dalai Lama, which is, my religion is kindness. It gets down to love for me. And sometimes love is fierce and love is really opinionated. And that's really sort of turns out to be what I'm known for. And before White Hot Truth, I would say, my creative offering was and still is the Desire Map, which is all about setting goals with soul. And yeah, you can find me everywhere on the interwebs.
Yes, everywhere on the interwebs, and I'm sure that people will, and they're going to get pleasantly surprised with all the offerings that you have out there. One of the major points that really stood out for me when I read this, and just knowing the work that you do, I loved how honest you were about everything. I've been wanting somebody to write a book about our path, our spiritual journey, or like the business of spirituality, and just like the things that we go through, and all the ways that we look for information to, at the end of the day, just really coming to find ourselves in all of this. And I just loved how it's so easily broken down. But I think that obviously, and you're so opinionated about all of these things, which I think is amazing, and I think we definitely need more of in the world, especially in our current state. What do you think what was your intention behind writing this?
Well, the experience I want people to have is relief. And there's a couple layers to that relief. So it's, you're going to realize that all of the things you've done that you thought, you look back on them now and you think, that was silly. I fell for that. That was a waste of money. What was I thinking? And you're also going to look back and say, wow, that was courageous. That took a lot of guts. That is what devotion looks like. That really did change my life. I'm more of myself because of that. And, I want you to look at everything you've been doing and see it as an initiation, that all the times that you gave up your power and you did dumb things and you did things that, the workshop leader told you to do that you didn't want to do, that was really against, your body was like, are you kidding me? But there you were going, this has got to be spiritually cool. That's all part of like waking up. You're not a loser. Everybody does it. And it's like, you're on track. And
How important is it for us to listen to that? Because I've been to conferences and workshops just like the ones you wrote about, where there was this like wall where I was like, I don't want to do this right now. This doesn't seem right. Is this person even qualified to be saying that? Like, what are we meant to do in those moments?
Well, see, this is the thing. It's hard to tell. This is why, consciousness is all about discernment.
Yeah.
Because sometimes in those moments, you're the guy who needs to jump up and down on the, in the ballroom on the chair. And that's your breakthrough. Like, just get out of your way and not worry about what people think, and like be in your body and do that and get high on that. And sometimes your spiritual initiation, like the most self-affirming, courageous thing you can do is say, are you fucking kidding me? And keep quiet or leave, or like peel. You need to get in your rental car from the workshop and you need to peel the fuck out of there. But the whole point is, you're the person who knows. You're the person who knows. Like, sometimes it's fear of expansion. And sometimes it's everything in you saying, this is not right. This is not who I am. And I mean, basically, now my anthem with women is like, if you think someone's creepy, if you think someone is creepy, then they are. They are to you. Like, that's called intuition. Yeah. And I also want people to, this is my own agenda. I'm very open about this.
Okay, let's hear
So
it.
I want you to feel relieved, and I want you to see this as an initiation. And, you know, the thesis of all of this really is the best self-help is self-compassion. But here's where my agenda comes in. I want you to get to that place of self-love and respect. And then I really hope that you will get off your ass and you will be of service to the world, because the earth is in peril, and because we have a crisis of morality right now.
Mm-hmm.
And we need you to love and respect yourself and wake up and go be a light worker and be kind, be loving, fight for justice, vote, work on, you know, your ecological awareness. Stop using so much plastic. Spend money consciously. Enough with overconsumption. Enough with lying on social media about how great your life is all the time. Just love yourself so you can be kind.
I think, yeah, and so this podcast is over, ladies and gentlemen, because she just said it all. Like, she just,
That's a wrap.
that was the easiest
Yeah.
interview I've ever done. Why do you think it's so important for us to be honest with ourselves like that?
Well, because the alternative, not being honest with yourself, being unconscious, is actually really painful. It's no fun. You feel mentally foggy. You might put on some weight, or you're going to lose too much weight. You're not going to be in your body. You're not going to be truly healthy. You're not going to feel useful. You're always going to be, listen, here's why. You will always be looking for someone else, something else to validate you. You're going to want the promotion. You're going to overspend. You're going to buy too much shit. I mean, all the reasons, all of everything that ails us, all the reasons we're going to the workshops are because of the question you just asked, which I can't remember anymore.
It
Because
was
I went on off on my
right.
tangent.
No, it's just like that. Why do we have a hard time being honest with ourselves? And this is just like, it's just a big question, especially in the realm I'm in, like, you know, with being a yoga teacher and teaching meditation and mindfulness and all these things. Like, even this realm is just littered with all of us seekers who want all of the things, but then we're all so afraid of being honest and posting that shitty picture on Instagram because you want to let the world know how happy and how great everything is, when in reality it's not. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, I have two more answers then. One is it's really hard to be honest. So we should get honest about how hard it is to be honest. It's scary work. It's the work of a lifetime. It will require courage and change and mess and ugliness and therapy bills. And it's hard. It's really painful stuff. And well, you can avoid it.
Yeah.
But if you want to be whole, it's unavoidable. And also, I'm going to contradict myself and say, you know, in defense of all of us who want to look great, just in life, not just on social media, I don't think this is anything new. You know, I think everybody in the 50s with, you know, their prim and proper way of going about things just wanted to look good. We all want to look good. And it's also, it's my right to want to look my best, literally and figuratively at all times. And I also, you know, I'm speaking really personally. I don't feel obligated to weep and share my shit online. I I don't need to bleed in front of everybody and say I'm suffering. However, I am committed to honesty. So I'm pretty balanced in what I share. I think I am. I'm really good to say working hard right now. Here's what it looks like. Here's the whole picture. So the whole picture is I fucking rock. I've got something to offer. I worked really hard on having great teeth and good skin and having a really big platform. It's working. This is great. And I don't watch any of my videos after because I don't want to cringe when I said something I didn't want to say, or it was a bad hair day, or I never watch my talks after that get recorded. Can't do it. Too much criticism. I should lose 10 more pounds. I shouldn't have worn that belt. I need to stop wearing all black on stage. Like, it just goes on. So I just don't. I don't read my own book reviews anymore. Not the ones on Amazon. I've been reading the ones. See, this is how I cheat. I've been
I'm
reading
like,
all
you're
my
cheating
great.
because I'm about to leave like 20 of them on there.
I cheat by reading. I've been reading all the book reviews for White Hot Truth on Goodreads
Okay.
because they've been coming in advance.
Yeah.
And they're really beautiful. But when the book comes out officially, I can't. I need to stop. Need to stop reading them because I'll start believing all the good stuff, or the good stuff. Not believing. That's not the right word. I'll get distracted by the positivity, and I will definitely get distracted by any of the negativity. You can have 100 5-star stellar reviews, and you can have one douchey one.
Yeah.
That's like, someone's mean. They're just mean, and it throws you off. So
Yeah, Danielle, tell me why I can have 10 5-star reviews about how great all this information is and one bad one and it just like ruin everything. Tell me why that happens.
Because we're sensitive, want to do good, be good creatures. Listen, even Eckhart Tolle does not read his reviews. I went to a lecture of his last year, and I couldn't. This like totally gave me permission to be neurotic. He said, in the early days, I mean, this is a guy who sold 1 million copies.
That's
a
crazy.
million. That's a lot of books.
That's
a million
a lot of
copies
books.
of The Power of Now, or a New Earth. And he said he found it so interesting. He went to Amazon, and there were many. I shouldn't even try to imitate him. I mean, I so respect him. But,
You almost did a little bit.
I almost did. Many, many good reviews. And then one negative one. And he said it had this sticky quality in his consciousness. And he decided to not do that anymore. And I was like, damn, if Eckhart Tolle is thrown off by one bad review out of thousands, then I'm not that nuts. And if he's not going to go there, I'm not going to go there either.
Well, I think that that's kind of part of what you talk about in the book about just accepting what is and not feeling. What are you drinking right now? Are you drinking tea?
Oh God, sorry. Did my swallow?
No,
come on
that's
the
good because
microphone?
I just had a swig and I want everyone to know that we're just having tea together. That's all.
Oh God, apologies. Microphone sensitivity.
I don't
That's
care.
gross.
People hear it and
Do you
they'll
know,
laugh.
I have a policy that when I'm doing video interviews, I never take a sip of anything because I think it's rude. I think if you can't go without a sip of liquid for 60 minutes to just keep it clean and polite, then something's wrong with you. But with podcasts, I think I could sneak, but with you, I can't sneak. I'm just having water. But this special thing about my water, this is the wellness thing, is, well, first of all, I live in Vancouver, so you can drink tap water. It's like revolutionary. But I put salt. I put mineral salt in my water.
Oh.
Just a couple pinches to help. I don't know, just because I read it, ionization or something. Yeah.
That's good.
That's a long answer.
No, thank you for that. We were talking about the stickiness, the sticky quality of those things that kind of set us off. Oh no, I was talking about how it's about accepting what is and how we need to figure out how to like thrive and just being authentic in who we are and being okay with having experiences,
Yeah, and you need to root into your reason, your why. Like, I'm here because I want to be self-expressed. I'm here because I want to be of service. And sometimes your why might seem shallow. Like, I'm here because I need to make a living. And that's my way of loving myself and, really showing up. Just know why you're doing it.
Yeah. I have a question about our narrative and how we see, because we can utilize our story to fuel us forward, but like, how do we break through the narrative so then it doesn't consume us? Like the story of, I didn't have the love from my parents as a child, and so now I'm seeking it, and now I'm like, on my spiritual path, and I'm like totally into the woo, and it's keeping me from my poo. Haha. Little shameless plug
This is
there for
great.
the book.
No, this is the first time I've been asked this, so I'm really happy.
I read it. I told you. I read the whole thing.
Well, not the woo and the poo, but
Oh.
the narrative
Oh, yeah.
part. Then this is really important. I need to write about this. Here's what I've been told many times. So, I mean, obviously, I'm on a book campaign right now. So, I'm working with a publicist. I love my publicist. She has vision and she is tapped in and she's got a big heart. And I sit down with Heidi and her team and they say, Dee, we need your story. And I go, what do you need my story for? What do you mean my story? They're like, how have you suffered? And I'm just like, why do I have to, like, I'm over my suffering. I just have things to say now. And like, you need to be relatable. I'm like, I hate this. And I've been in a lot of interviews with, shall we say, glossy chick magazines.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to go right there. And I sit in these boardrooms with these 20-somethings who are basically all American chick magazines are run by 13-year-olds who want to be the editor, who want to be editor-in-chief. And God, I'll never get interviewed again now. And they say
They're not
to
going to
me,
listen to this. Just
I
continue.
give them my pitch, and I'm like being cool and loving and really trying to go with this because this is what I have to tell myself before some magazine interviews. I'm doing this for the good of humankind. Because this is what's going to happen. I'm going to talk about the truth, everything I've said here, my version of the truth, what I think is really helpful to people. And then someone who's half my age and just wants to be an editor-in-chief is going to say to me, why should we believe you? And I want to lunge across the boardroom table and say, have you read the fucking book? But of course, nobody's read the fucking book. Nobody has time to read anything. They just have the press release. And that's when I have to pull out my suffering story, which is why my publicist is an expert and why I should listen to her. And that's where I say, well, I had a brutal divorce. And I have been on my kitchen floor crying. And I have smoked a pack of Marlboro Lights while making my green smoothie. I have had money almost stolen from me from healers. I was fired from my own company. I got Steve jobbed. And I was hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. And I left with my BlackBerry. And then the company declared bankruptcy. And then I just kind of look at them like, is that good enough? Is that enough suffering? Am I now relatable to you? And they go, wow, we'd like to run a story on you on, the week the book comes out. I go, great. I've done my job for humanity. So that's it. That's the narrative. So I always want to leave my narrative because I'm always on to the next thing. And because I consider myself a preacher.
Yeah.
And if you resonate, great. I want you to show up and hear the sermon of the day. If you don't resonate, I'm really okay. I don't need you to believe in me. I have a really great relationship with life and my friends. And I'm pretty solid in what I have to say.
Yeah. No, I love that. I think it's really important, and I am always inspired by your honesty, because I think it's so important to be able to just call a spade and be able to say that. And it is, at the end of the day, it is your career and it is a business, you know, and I think it's important for people to just, you know the reality of how things work and how things are, I'm doing air quotes, marketed in the world. I say that because I'm curious as to your opinion of like being in that realm where you have to sort of rehash this story that you obviously have processed through, and how it affects us energetically, to have that sort of, like, aren't we supposed to transcend our narrative and like transcend the story and be like, okay, yeah, like I've moved past that, but like how many more times? I'll give you an example. Like, I grew up in East LA during the LA riots. It was chaos. I experienced a lot of things. There was drive-by shootings. There was people dying. It was insane, right? And so that's just, I grew up with PTSD, anxiety, depression, and I was severely overweight, on medication, and then I transformed my life as I got older, once I graduated high school, through yoga and meditation and healthy living, and so now this is what I do for a living, right? But it's always the story. It's like, well, let's go back to what happened, and it's like, I don't want to talk about what happened. Like, it happened. Like, this is what the story is now. This is the new narrative, is how we utilize the tools that we have in the world now, and we get to work with people and our loving friends and community and all the stuff that you talk about in the book, and seeking all of those things, but at the end of the day, knowing that you are what you are, and you're the vessel, and there's wisdom in your experience, but you don't necessarily have to be your narrative, right?
Mm-hmm. This is so great, because I mean, you are a before and after story. And before and after stories do two things. One, they're healing. I mean, for people to see the before and the after is inspiring, and it gives them hope. And in some ways, as a teacher, as a light worker, you're honor bound to keep waving that flag, to give people hope. And the other thing that before and after stories do is they sell. I mean, it's great marketing, right? So that's why before and after stories get flogged, yeah, and overused and abused. But I think it's an internal thing. Like, clearly you've moved on, and you can now move to a place where your before and after story isn't a gimmick. It's not just about marketing. It's like, I'm going to tell you this because this story is how I can help you. Mm-hmm. This is my way of being of service. And I'm just going to drop it here, and it's just going to be 10% of everything I have to offer and everything I have to say. But I know you need to hear it. And you can do it without, and this is where I can really relate to that. I'm now in a place where sometimes when I need to pull a certain story up about my narrative, I can do so without resentment. Like, do we have to talk about this again? And I can say, hey, you know what? When I got fired from my company and I was driving home in the car screaming on the 20-minute drive, I know how you feel. But it's not a sales shtick anymore. There's another side to narratives, right? Where the narrative, especially in the self-help space, is blown up. So there's a lot of people saying, I suffered, this was my thing, and I got fired, or I, broke my back, or whatever. Of course, some of those are true, and it's suffering, but it's just like they're getting blown up. They're what Allie Brown calls the your stage story, or your speaker story. I wish I could quote her properly. Where, like, everybody knows I need that suffering story, and I hear those suffering stories. I'm like, that's not suffering. I mean, it's so like judgmental of me, but I'm just like, I kind of roll my eyes. I'm like, you know what that is? That's called being in your 20s. So you were broke. You were 22. This is how you learn to be an entrepreneur. Like, your dad wasn't paying off your credit cards anymore. This is not the dark night of your soul. Okay? So Yeah.
No,
You ain't qualified to
right?
tell me about, yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like this is the whole thing, and I guess I totally am 100% with you because I see that, and like I don't want to be that person. I'm like I don't. I guess I'm so into just moving forward and always being from that point. Like I always tell people, they're like, well, what's your, they want me to talk about like a rock bottom moment. And I'm like, dude, there is no rock bottom moment when you start from the bottom. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even, like, I have a hard time with believing in the word failure because I have a hard time with it. I just don't believe that there are things that just don't work. And sometimes you're so attached to the result that they don't work out the way you want, but that doesn't mean you're a failure. It just means it didn't work. There's something else. So yeah, I appreciate your enthusiasm for that as well. With what is happening in the world right now, especially in the world of let's say spirituality or self-help, you talk about this as well about consumers mistaking volume for wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
And what is your advice for us in the world of this realm for that? Like, how do we sift through that? And, or should we just like give up and be like, it's all going to hell in a handbasket?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, another great question. I think it's great because it's testing us to refer to ourselves. So it's treacherous because everybody's got a filter now. Everybody's got a blog now, and it's so easy. I mean, you can just go and get a template and really create a really slick website. And there's so much information and wisdom about how to market in a really strong way that you can take zero substance and turn it into something that looks really great.
Yeah.
And then there's some people who have a lot of substance and they combine that with good marketing and really beautiful branding, and there's that too in all that noise. And I think what it's calling us to do is like take a breath, ask yourself, do I resonate with this? Does this seem real? And then so there's that immediate, intuition and instinct that we have to hone. I mean, this is part of being conscious. You got to know. And it's a lot like dating. Like someone can look like they got the whole package, but you're going to know, you're going to feel like is this person good and sincere and all of that. Mm-hmm. And then I think it's also calling us to use our intellect and go deeper and to ask some questions. Like I'm very interested in how someone has suffered, how someone who's calling themselves an expert has learned. What's the lineage of learning, and what's your motivation, and how do you make your money, and are you giving any of that money away, and anything free, or is everything about a fucking funnel, a marketing funnel? And are you really being yourself, or are you following this formula? And maybe the formula is a perfect fit for you. So it's a test in discernment. And I mean, really what I'm on my soapbox about is to just say, be aware. Just question everything. Question everything. And sometimes the answer is going to be yes. Oh my God, that person is real and I resonate, and that is helpful. And sometimes the answer is, you kidding me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that we do innately know that, right? I think that you can just feel that. I think that what you're speaking is literally, it's the truth. I think that we need to just do more of that self-inquiry and be more curious about our own path and be honest with ourselves and listen to that voice inside, and be okay with experimenting and trying different ways of getting there, and not buying into the facade of some person who's selling us something that isn't isn't real, right?
You're good. This is another great point about surface and substance. We're in such a materialistic, um, I want to say optical, like visual time, where it's so much about how we look in every way, in terms of branding and
Yeah.
physicality and everything.
Yeah, we're like an
That,
ocular society.
yes, yes, yes. That, you just, I mean, this is just a brass tacks. You just don't maybe look as good when you're 70. And, or you don't have the platform because you've been around so long, you've been practicing so long and doing the real work for so long that you haven't been focusing on growing your Facebook following. And so people don't even know about you. So, the masses, and that's why everybody at a yoga conference is in the room going to the breakout session with a young chick with, she's probably big on Instagram, and the seasoned dude or woman is in the less attended room, but they've really got the wisdom, right?
Right.
And I also think it's a function of there's this gap that happens. Like now that I'm in my 40s, I never talk about my age, by the way. It's interesting that it's coming out now. Now that I'm in my 40s, I have more discernment. And I used to be like in my 20s, I'd be like, oh, wisdom, schmizdom. Like, you're boring. You're kind of old. And now I just want to know what my predecessors have to say about this. Like, what do you think? And, I've been hanging out a lot with Guru Singh, and he just turned, I don't know, I think he's 72. And he is so tuned in. And yeah, I just want to sit at the feet of true masters.
Yeah.
And then go be hip and sexy and popular in my own way. But
Yeah, but that's the balance. Isn't that what we're doing though? Like that's part of the balance. You can't just be one extreme to the other. It doesn't work. Like we have to be able to just find the balance, and then have and have the ability to be able to change our minds, like and have an opinion and be able to change our opinion if we feel like it.
Yeah. Change is consciousness. Yeah.
One of the other things that I wanted to just kind of get your take on in writing this was, what do you think? What would be the biggest piece of advice that you can give people out there that are looking for this type of truth?
Well, as I mentioned before, the heart of all of this is that the best self-help turns out to be self-compassion. So befriending yourself really is it. It's everything. It's loving yourself while you are hating yourself. But I think you phrase the question in an interesting way. It's like you're already making the assumption that somebody wants to know about truth. So I can give you an even bigger answer, which is it's about devotion. It's, I guess not, I guess I want to say, what are you devoted to and how devoted are you? Because it's really intense, difficult work, waking up and being of service. And it's the most worthwhile thing ever. It's the most ecstatic, fulfilling, prosperous thing you can do. Like it's so intense and it's so worth it. Yeah.
How do you still seek for truth?
Oh, well, through practice. I have practices, all these things that we're doing. Everything we're preaching about, the yoga and the clean eating and being of service and meditating, some form of contemplation. There's a reason why all of these things have been going. Everybody's been going on about them for thousands of years. It turns out that they work. And so that's how I keep seeking. I mean, I keep sitting to clear my mind. I keep recommitting to being really conscious about what I'm putting in my body. I keep recommitting about, asking myself, sometimes it's a heavy sigh because it's not easy. And I think, what's the most loving thing I can do right now for myself, for this person, for the planet? Oh. Yeah, I keep asking.
I love that. So, just a couple more questions before we wrap up. What advice would you give your 15-year-old self?
Oh, 15?
Your
Okay, that's young, so I can't say, should have slept with that cowboy.
No.
Okay.
You could have. I don't know.
That's the advice I give to my 20-year-old self. Should have done it. Got in the pickup truck.
Oh, God.
15. Well, I left home the day I turned 16. I ran away. So what would I tell my 15-year-old self? I would just say to her, you're not crazy. Yeah.
What would your 60-year-old self say to you right now?
Oh, ease up. My 60-year-old self would say, let it come to you.
Oh, that's so good. I felt that in my heart. So good. Okay, final question. So, Radically Loved is basically a forum that I created for people to come to learn about different modalities: yoga, meditation, mindfulness, self-development, where they can get tools and learn about different people and life stories and so on. But Radically Loved is this idea that we are radically loved by God or source or whatever higher power of your understanding is, baby Krishna, whatever it is, you're radically loved and held. And the questions to you are, how do you feel radically loved? And what do you radically love?
God, what beautiful. Well, I radically love my son. I mean, there's no question about it. I don't even have to think about it. He's 13 and he's awesome. I'll tell you, this is how I can explain the radical love for him. I'll try not to weep. I feel honored to be his mother. I think he's a great being, and I respect him. Yeah. How do I feel radically loved? Well, if I look back from like now to, 15 minutes ago or 15 years, life has never let me down. I think most people could say that. Like, I'm still here. I'm still here. I'm in my body. I'm conscious, I feel radically loved by my girlfriends. Boom. That's it. I mean, the book is dedicated to my girlfriends.
Yeah.
And that wasn't this kind of like, oh, I'll just like give it to my homies. Like, this was really felt and thought through. Like, I'd be fucking crazy without my girlfriends. And the radical love from them of, my prayer is that everybody can experience this with at least one person where, they listen to me talk about the same chump for a long time and getting over that,
Yeah.
And when I am arrogant, they just laugh at me. And I have friends, Rosie, who bring me salad. They make me soup. And this is how fucking radical it is. They make me soup. They know I'm writing. They know I'm probably not eating. They make me soup and they know that I don't want to be bothered. They leave it on my porch.
Oh my goodness, I can't.
Like they don't even need,
I can't.
That's radical. Yeah.
Can I rent them for like an afternoon? Like rent a friend. That, Danielle, I obviously am so grateful for you and all the work that you've done. And you've been a mentor of mine for years now. And it's such a huge honor and privilege to have you on this podcast and to just be able to talk about this incredible piece of work that you made. And you're a priestess in this world, and I'm so beyond grateful. Thank you so much for doing this.
My pleasure. You are fresh. You are fresh and real, and I would love to know what you're doing in the world. So yeah, thank you, and thank you everybody.
Yeah. Oh well. So
listening.
For people that want more information, where should they go?
I'm everywhere. Obviously DanielleLaPorte.com, and there's just so much free stuff, and we've built it in a way that you can just go down all these different rabbit holes and find what you need in the moment. And really the center of my universe, other than God and my child and my girlfriends, is Instagram. I love it. I love the Instagram space. I love the visual language. Everything I put out starts there. So yeah, at Danielle LaPorte.
Okay, great. So we're we'll put it in the show notes. I'm also doing a White Hot Truth giveaway. So there will be a 5-book giveaway for listeners that give us feedback on the podcast. You can write a review or you can message on Instagram. We got to figure out a way to actually do this, but I'm going to give it away. So whoever messages me first, who's listening to this, the first 5 people are going to get a free book. So just send a message to Rosie@radicallylove.com and you win. Perfect. Done. Okay, Danielle, thank you so much. I appreciate you so much. Beyond.
Here's to radically loved.
Here's to radically loved. Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I am so excited to continue to do this. Please share this with your friends. Email us, message us on Instagram at Rosie Acosta or on Twitter at Rosie Acosta. Subscribe on iTunes, write a review. We love doing this, so please help us continue to keep this podcast going. Thanks for listening.